How does it feel? It is wonderful.
There's something almost childlike about jumping.
My name is Linda Waugh.
My name is Rick Ramirez. What motivates me to stay fit is the knowledge that I will have a better quality of life. Aging is a challenge, is the way I see it.
You can pump cortisol or you can pump endorphins. After I work out, I feel both mentally and physically balanced. I am ready for the day.
It's a nice low-impact workout.
So instead of lying there in bed, get up, get on the trampoline for 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
A lot of thought went into the design. It's very quiet. I like the bungee system.
I had a fear of bouncing off, which dissipated within a minute. I think at any age, the exercise will help the entire system. The movement feeds the attitude. Just take control. Get out there and exercise.
Hi, I'm Linda Brooks, certified reboundologist. I'm here to share with you the fun and dynamics of what I call the ultimate exercise. I started rebounding 16 years ago, and I got certified by Al Carter, whom many of you know as the father of rebound exercise.
Rebounding was founded in my backyard. I had a trampoline in the backyard, and as I began to bounce, I began to realize that this wasn't just trampolining, that this was an exercise that would help other people become stronger and healthier and better balance and so on. And this is where we begin to come up with the formula of rebound exercise and rebounding.
Albert Carter, as a lecturer and educator, has shared his findings on health and rebound exercise all over the world. Albert Carter was sponsored by the Marriott Corporation, Carter's Gymnastics Fantastics professional trampoline team, which gave over 500 performances to more than 500,000 spectators between 1974 and 1975. His research into rebounding resulted in the start of a new industry and the development of the first home-sized rebounder. Today, Albert Carter is recognized as the world's greatest authority on rebound exercise. The modern-day rebounder has direct links to the trampoline. Trampoline-like nets were once used by firemen to catch people jumping out of burning buildings and were invented in 1887. The first modern trampoline was built by George Neeson and Larry Griswold in 1936. Neeson was a gymnastics and diving competitor. Griswold was a tumbler on the gymnastics team, both at the University of Iowa, USA. During World War II, the United States Navy Flight School developed the use of the trampoline in its training of pilots and navigators, giving them concentrated practice in spatial orientation that had not been possible before. After the war, the development of the spaceflight program again brought the trampoline into use to help train both American and Soviet astronauts, giving them experience of variable body positions in flight. The modern-day rebounder was created from the ideas of trampolining.
The term rebound exercise came to life about in 1977. See, I was a professional trampolinist. I traveled all over the United States under the name of Gymnastics Fantastics. And as I traveled, I was traveling with my children who were putting on part of the trampoline show. When we finished our trampoline shows, and he came back to Edmonds, Washington, I had my lawn to mow and my weeds to pull, and my children went to school. One day my son came home, who was in the first grade, and he said, "Dad, I did 15 sit-ups." I said, "That's awfully hard to believe. How did you do 15 sit-ups?" He says, "I just did them." I said, "I want to see how many sit-ups you can do. So I held his ankles down, and he started doing sit-ups. I counted 101, 102, 103. He kept on going. 201, 202, 203. I couldn't believe this was my son, still doing 301, 302, 303. He finally stopped at 429 sit-ups. Can you believe that? This was a first grader. I would have a hard time believing it, except that this was my son. My daughter was watching this. She was in the 4th grade. She had her hand on her hip. She says, well, I can do that too. So I held her ankles down. She started doing her sit-ups. She stopped at 476 sit-ups, non-stop. I couldn't believe it. These were my children. How could they be so strong? I knew that at age 30 I could still do 100 one-arm push-ups. And that was awfully hard for me to believe because I had not been lifting weights.
I came to the conclusion that we were using 3 natural forces, acceleration, deceleration, and gravity vertically, which made it possible for us to become stronger than normal.
I became familiar with Al Carter's equipment back around 2010. Had a bad 4-year run from 2006 to 2010. Had a series of operations for arthritis, had a couple of heart attacks, some stents in my heart. And my cardiologist, my orthopedic surgeon, and my family practitioner said, Jack, you're a mess, you're a train wreck. You need to get healthy, and you need to get healthy quickly. At the time, I had a great job. I was working in New York City on Wall Street, also had an office in Utah, would fly back and forth. Pain from the arthritis became unbearable. By January, I needed to quit my job. At that point in time, I was 55. The surgeons wanted to start replacing joints at that time and just felt it was too young to have joint replacements. So I started looking for ways to get better. I took the whole year off, 2010. One of the very first things I found that helped me with my road to recovery was the trampoline, the gentle bounce that Al Carter had developed. Came over to his facility, happened to be fortunate to be located not too far from his facility. Came over and met Al, we went over exercises. That was January 2010. We did a lot of things, whether it was meditation, relaxation, visualization, but the trampoline and the bounce back, especially the gentle bounce back, was really helped with that gentle bounce. By November, I was feeling pretty good. When I started, it was a very, very gentle. When I was on the equipment, very, very gentle. I was using the stability bars on both sides. By January of the next year, after a full year, I'm jumping up, I'm catching air. It was really a good experience. 2011, I actually went into business to help people with arthritis. Myself and the trampolines that Al had designed, we had quite a few of them. We put them in our facility, and we put dozens of people through our program. We actually got published in April of 2014, this year, where we were able to help people with their range of motion, stability, a perceived decrease in pain. Pretty exciting stuff. And so we felt that the trampoline, that the rebounder was a very important part. And what we found specifically is help people a sense of balance, helped them with strength, helped them with endurance, and just gave them a sense of confidence. Most people are pretty conservative that first week to month on the rebounders, very careful. But at the end of a 12-week program that we were doing, we just had grandmas and grandpas just going up and down. It was a lot of fun and a lot of success that we've seen.
Bouncing on a rebounder is the full exercise program, and it exercises every cell in the body. But that doesn't mean that every cell in the body is going to receive the type of exercise it needs. So studying rebound exercise, we find that there are different types of bounces. For example, the health bounce is where a person bounces very low, where the feet don't even leave the mat. And it's a continuous bounce. but because it's a health bounce, it stimulates all of the cells of the body. Then we have the aerobic exercise. The aerobic exercise is where you jog or walk on the rebounder. This is designed to exercise or stimulate the muscles of the legs and the arms and even the abdominal muscles. From the aerobic exercises, we go into the strength bounce. This caught a lot of people by surprise when we started talking about the strength bounce. Because when we think of strength exercise, we think of weightlifting. With a rebounder, your strength bounce is where you jump up high, so the higher you go, the faster you come down. The faster you come down, the greater is the force of deceleration. The greater the force of deceleration, the more you load the springs, and with a loading of the springs, the greater is the strength exercise. Then we have the sitting bounce. Very simple. I'm sitting, and if I was to begin to move up and down by moving my arms up and down, my whole body would begin to move up and down. And now I'm involved with the sitting exercises, and it's going to exercise from the knees up through the facial area just by doing a sitting bounce. We have the slalom, which is bouncing from side to side on the rebounder. It develops balance, coordination, rhythm, timing, and dexterity, and kinesthetic awareness. And then you put all of these together into a exercise system, and you can exercise the entire body all in a very short period of time. The first thing we have to understand is what the human body is all about, which means you would go to medical physiology or other physiology books and study medical physiology in such a way that you would be able to take that information and put it into books. This book right here, Rebound to Better Health, is the first book on rebound exercise. Its date is 1977. And right after that book was printed, we produced another one. This is a smaller one, The Miracles of Rebound Exercise. Along with this one right here, The Miracles of Rebound Exercise. It was talking about miracles. What do we mean by miracles? These are something that haven't been found that should be made available to virtually everybody. Now, Richard, after we wrote this book, we found that we could also put a label on it, and that label says over 500,000 sold. This book right here sold over 500,000, and we were very, very excited about the fact that this book sold that many. But surprise, surprise, just a couple of years later, we produced the same book, and once again, we have a label on the top of it, and that label says 1.3 million copies, a bestseller. That's what a bestseller does, is sell over 1 million copies.
Is how many years of knowledge and wisdom that you're sharing in this book?
This is over 35 years of knowledge and wisdom.
And so you referenced textbook of medical physiology and other medical journals
Yes.
in your research.
Yes.
Wow. That is really incredible. This is an immense amount of knowledge in here. And, you know, it's wonderful because I don't have to read a big compendium of a medical text. The competitive gymnastics sport of trampolining has been a part of the Olympic Games since 2000. On a modern competitive trampoline, a skilled athlete can bounce to a height of 10 meters, 33 feet, performing multiple somersaults and twists. Trampolines also feature in the competitive sport of slam ball, a variant of basketball, and bosa ball, a variant of volleyball.
We're at the beautiful Royal Hawaiian Hotel in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I'm very happy to have Dr. Harry Snyder and his wife Sarah with me today. Dr. Snyder is a fitness educator and world-renowned for working with Olympic athletes, especially a large group of athletes at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. And then Sarah Snyder, who's an aerobics instructor, as well as a co-author with Dr. Snyder of the Olympic Trainer. We're glad to have you here today, and especially because we're going to get a workout.
Yes, we are. We're going to take you on a beautiful program called the Daily Dozen. a program that will develop the healthy cell. And of course, we're here with a lot of the...
It was an exciting time for the Snyders in 1978 when we discovered the wonderful benefits of rebound exercise. And we shared it with our family first, and then we had a chance to meet Albert Carter, who was one of the pioneers in introducing rebounding to the world with his book Miracles of Rebound Exercise. He noticed that we had included the weights on our rebounders, and he called it a revolutionary system, and he asked us to write a book, which he was able to distribute to many parts of the US and the world. With our more than 40 years of experience rebounding, we have had so many people that have enjoyed the experience and said it brings them back to their youth when they were bouncing up and down with joy. We have had music playing along with the rebounder in our own fitness center. We use it in circuit training and work with so many people that have so much fun bouncing to the music, dancing, doing all kinds of wonderful things to strengthen their body, but having fun at the same time. And it's such a tremendous program for all ages to enjoy and have a good time in their living room. And so convenient. All they need to do is bounce up and down. They get the endorphins flowing in the brain, and they're having a good time. They can do it as a family if they have more than one rebounder, and get the music going, and they just have a party. And we do that in our fitness center every day, and the clients love it. We have circuit programs where we go from the rebounders to the other equipment, and it's part of their training program. It's a professional program that can be used by anyone, and has so much more benefit than a bicycle or a treadmill or a dumbbell, because you can do all of that and more on a rebounder.
When I'm rebounding, I do this little song. Old toxins out, new fluids in. Wash, feed, purify, wash, feed, purify. I'm exercising and nourishing all the cells of my body, because that's how I feel when I'm bouncing. I'm lymphasizing.
Because this is the exercise that will stimulate the activity of the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is found in chapter 31 of medical physiology. The lymphatic system is a system of tubes that start in the toes and fingertips and work up throughout the entire body. The lymphatic system is not connected up to the heart, so it doesn't have a pumping system other than it has to depend on the millions of one-way valves inside the lymphatic system. In other words, it's a hydraulic pressure system. Anytime there's pressure below the one-way valve opens up. Anytime there's pressure above the one-way valve, it stays closed. As soon as you understand that very simple concept, you can understand how this exercise actually stimulates the lymphatic system. You see, when you go up, the one-way valves are closed. When you come back down, the pressure below opens up the one-way valves, and when you get back to them, they slam shut again. You do this over and over again, those one-way valves open and close. That's millions of one-way valves 100 times a minute. The purpose for the lymphatics, it's an internal vacuum cleaner, having the capability of sucking out toxins, poisons, trash, and metabolic waste, making it possible for the oxygen and nutrients to feed the cells. In fact, if every one of us had a little red label across our forehead that said, "Shake well before using," we'd all be healthier.
Sometimes we read some things and we don't know whether to come this way or go that way, whether to believe this or that. And it may be because we don't have a solid foundation on which to lay it. Well, if we can dig down and hit rock bottom and find something that's solid, something we can understand and put our teeth into, and say, hey, I've got this. It makes sense. I understand it. Well, this is what the lymphatic system becomes to you. And being the foundation of health, I'm going to make a statement, and as we progress this evening, you're going to be able to understand that this statement is true. If we could keep the lymphatic system working properly, we would not have any pain in our body, neither would we have sickness, and neither would we have premature death caused from unhealthy conditions in our body. It wouldn't happen.
Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Ezra West. We have a big problem in our modern society. People are so used to the nice, comfortable ride to and from wherever they're going. They're looking to park as close as they can, not even have to walk very far. We used to be a lot more active. Deep breathing and bouncing are two of the most fundamental, funnest, and easiest things that we can do to rejuvenate our mind and body. And the laws of the universe, you know, they're nothing new. They've been the same from the beginning of time. Think about it. When you, as far back as you can think, I mean, from even before you could think, in the womb, you were being lymphosized by your mother. And when you started to kick, you were also lymphosizing your mother. My father said, don't just exercise, lymphosize. After you were born, when you cry, your mother would give you a very subtle bounce. That type of nurturing bounce is the best form of bounce we've ever found for activating our own immune system, which is our lymphatic system. Your lymph doesn't flow fast enough unless you're deep breathing and bouncing. If people get to the point where they might feel bad enough where they start to cry and they get lymphosized by their mother when they do that as a baby, then they're actually having a double thing happen, that both of those things synergistically help activate your other circulatory system. How many of you knew that you had another set of vessels aside from your blood vessels? How many of you knew that? And you probably didn't know that what even activates those vessels. Well, you have more fluid in those vessels than you do blood in the bloodstream also. It's the clear fluid. Everybody's seen it, you know, whether it comes out as tears or whatever, it's the clear fluid in the body that is lymph. When you crack an egg open, that's a single cell surrounded by albumin and water, which is exactly what we find around our own body cells. And that's the fluid that's in this other set of vessels that I'm talking about. Whether it's around the cells or the lymph vessels, it's called lymphatic fluid. So this is great because all the itises mean inflammation, right? How many people are complaining about what's been bringing them to their knees with their physical health nowadays? If you know what the statistics are, it's skyrocketing. And our healthcare costs have been doing the same thing, doubling and tripling every 10 years since 1950. So we need to solve the problems of what's bringing people to their knees physically and financially. And something so fun, so simple, and once you have a unit, it's free to use it. You don't have to charge for a gym membership every time you go to the gym. I want you to think back as a baby. Those of you, any of you can remember even being rocked as a baby in a rocking chair. Whether it's in a swing, rocking chair. I think some of the first lymphosizers may have been a tree branch and riding a horse across the plains, or even a wagon that didn't have such good suspension. Think about it. We're doing a lot more bouncing. We had to be more physically active, and when we're more physically active, we're also deep breathing automatically, usually when we're more physically active. The great thing about the mini trampolines is it's doing most of the work for you. I want to just think about when you were a kid bouncing on a bed. Didn't it just feel good? And until your mom came in, maybe your dad gave you that look and had a talk with you. You know, well, jumping on the bed, how many movies have we even seen where the actors run into a hotel room, first thing they do is they start jumping on the hotel bed. Why? Because it's not their own. Well, and because it feels so good. How many amazing expressions have you seen on people's faces who are bouncing on a trampoline or mini trampoline? The first mini trampoline came out finally in our more modern time. A company named Nature Sunshine really, I think, helped do the most to really get them out there. And the person who was involved with that, who was doing the most educating on that, just happened to be my father, Dr. C. Samuel West. And he was lecturing 200 cities a year, 5 to 6 cities a week, and teaching people how to use the mini trampolines. He pioneered a lot of work on the lymphatic system himself. He actually discovered how the mini trampoline also magnifies thought wave. And you know, Yogi Bhajan, who brought Kundalini yoga to the Americas, this is a great part of history. He ended up doing his meditating on a mini trampoline when he found out how powerful it was to magnify his thought wave. You know, people have used it to increase memorization ability for children or whatever. My father, actually, an interesting part of this, my father tucked Al Carter under his wing, who ended up becoming the king of rebounding. He's the one that coined the phrase rebounding. And every single person like him, who's been one of the fathers of all this, ended up being, and helped so many millions of people, every single person who's made major contributions deserves credit for the part that they've been able to do.
Why do I love rebounding? It's a good workout. I'm winded by the time I finish. I work out for about 10-15 minutes a day, and it makes the lymphatic system doing what it's supposed to be doing. So having had a health challenge myself, That's when I got my rebounder and have been doing it pretty consistently for years now, about 10 years, and I love it. It's a great workout and it's quick. You could even be watching or listening to a talk or watching TV. It's just an easy way to do your exercise. And you can also do it outside so you can enjoy nature. And if you get a party together and get a lot of people with their rebounders, you can all be rebounding together. So it's a lot of fun.
But I strive to get on that rebounder at least 20 minutes daily. I think that this is a modality that is so beneficial that all of us should use it as much as possible. Anything that we can do to increase movement and decrease sitting is a therapeutic benefit. And wouldn't you rather do something that's fun? And rebounding is fun. There are several different types of rebounders available on the market. One type of rebounder includes a coil. Another kind uses more of a bungee cord. I think before you purchase one, it's probably worth it for you to sit or stand or bounce on both different types of rebounders. But either one works, and it's a personal preference, and there's no absolute in this. If you're not going to use it, don't buy it. If you're going to use it, then buy that particular one and get on it and use it frequently. It doesn't seem that you have to do all 20 minutes at one time. You can spread that out throughout the day. So if you want to get on your rebounder for 5 minutes at 4 intervals throughout the day, that seems to be equally beneficial. I think that like anything else, you have to develop a habit of it. You have to have it where you can see it. You can't have it stuck in a corner somewhere in a back office in the basement. You're not likely to get on it and use it. So like every other exercise modality, it has to be part of your routine. The nice thing about the rebounder is you can do it indoors or outdoors. I do like to do exercise outdoors. I think that that's important. It's important for us to be grounded with the earth. I recommend grounding as a modality for my patients frequently. I think we need to reconnect with Mother Earth and disconnect with our electronics. And you can put that rebounder outside, get advantage of the fresh air, sunshine, use that ultraviolet wavelength of the sun to convert that dehydrocholesterol in your skin into vitamin D, get those advantages that you get from being outdoors. And a rebounder is a small enough piece of equipment that it's simple to transport from inside the exercise room to outside so that you can change it up and you're not bored all the time putting your routine in one place.
There's no doubt that some professions require people to sit for prolonged periods throughout the day. And there's other professions where people just choose to sit. That means they don't have to be sitting throughout the day, they're just making the choice to. Either way, you have to get up and move. We've definitely become a sedentary culture, and rebounding is one way to overcome this really quickly. Here's how to do it if you have to sit at a desk all day. At some point, you're going to take a break. Now, a lot of research on human development and productivity has proven that you should only work in blocks of time. So here's the strategy. Set the clock for every 50 minutes. So you work for 50 minutes straight, and then guess what you're going to do for the next 10 minutes before that next 50-minute block? Yep, you're going to get up and start jumping on the rebounder. Get the blood flowing, get the lymph moving, get all of that stuff moving through the brain cells so that you can concentrate and focus again for that next 50-minute block. That's one strategy I know that's helped a ton of my patients and clients, and it's really helped put exercise back into their life. When you think about that, if you had 6 of those throughout the day, guess what? You just worked out for an hour. So that block of time that you said you didn't think you had, or you've told yourself over and over, I just don't have time to exercise. You really do. You just have to schedule it, just like anything else in your life.
So just keep in mind that rebounder is not a toy. It is a piece of exercise equipment that you can use in many different ways. You don't just have to stand there and bounce up and down. There are many exercises that you can do on a rebounder and still get the benefit. I mean, they have the basic, which is just called the health bounce, where you don't even have to get any air. But if you do use it a lot, you're going to want to change up the exercises that you do on it. So you can incorporate some light weights. You can do all kinds of, even sit down exercises. Pilates, you can put a ball on top of it and work out that way. So I'm still experimenting in all the different things, all the different ways to use it. And it's just limitless.
One of the components that I really emphasize with my patients is rebounding. The importance of rebounding is one of the most beneficial ways to get cardiovascular health and exercise for all ages, and it's safe for kids through elderly. I can't emphasize it enough to my patients how important that, small 5, 10, 20-minute section time that you allow for rebounding per day has lasting impacts for your health and getting you from where you are wanting to be to where you want to go health-wise.
If we rebound for 5 minutes, 4 to 6 times a day, we are doing everything that our body requires. I have lost, I've gone from a 36-inch waist to a 34-inch waist. I've lost 20 pounds. I am feeling better than I have ever felt in my life. The benefits of the continuous rebounding has been fantastic, and I encourage everybody to do it.
If there are 2 words I could leave you with, it would be these: Go Rebound.